Alright, welcome to today's video. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove the electronic starter from your ATV. One of the first things you should do, it's not necessary, is to disconnect the battery before removing the starter. The reason why I say that it's not necessary, my quad's all taken apart, in case you guys didn't realize that, is that your battery cable runs to your starter solenoid right here. There's no power coming from this post that would normally go down to the starter unless the ignition's turned on and someone's pressing the start button. So as a safety precaution to ensure that absolutely no issues would happen, you should disconnect the battery. Once the battery's disconnected, I started to remove the negative cable, which is attached to the side of the starter. Now, I wasn't able to get the boot off of the positive on the starter side, so I just removed the battery cable, our starter cable, from the solenoid and then pulled it out. So I got the Arctic Cat engine on the bench that I'm doing a rebuild series on, but this will give you clarity so you can see the starter better inside. So we got one screw out right there. So once we remove this screw right here, there's nothing else holding that starter in place, so then we should be able to pull this out. This starter's been in here a long time, so this is where I'm gonna show it some love and use a pry bar and tap it with a hammer to bust it free. Once the starter's out, you can verify it by seeing if the motor can turn over by hand. If the motor can't turn over by hand, then the problem is most likely with the motor instead of the starter. So I got the starter out right here, and as you can see right there, there is an O-ring that goes around. It's very important that if you're going to reuse the starter, make sure that O-ring is not damaged. Otherwise, you may have an oil leak. So now what we're gonna do now before we put the starter back in is I got some synthetic grease right here that we are going to put on the O-ring before we insert it. Putting some lube on it will ensure that it will go in smoothly as well. Now when you're sticking the starter in, you might have to turn it in order to get the teeth to slide through the gears, and once you get the teeth through the gears, then the starter will just go in perfect like that. Well, I'm going to end the video there. I've replaced the starter in your Arctic Cat 650H1. I know this wasn't a very exciting video. The playlist is going to have easy videos to more advanced videos, but this is for those who want to see how the starter's removed, because some people think that they can get into a job and do it, but once they start doing it, they realize they're in too deep. This way, obviously, if you're doing it inside the quad, it's going to be a lot harder than taking the starter out when the engine's removed. But visually, they can see, okay, there's two bolts holding it in. This is what I need to do to get it out. Can I handle this task? Do I need to take it to the dealership? Anyways, in a future video, once we get this engine rebuilt and back in the quad, I'm going to show you an electrical version on how to troubleshoot the starter. We're going to measure for voltage drop across the solenoid and everything else. So stay tuned for those videos, and also check out my playlist for the Arctic Cat rebuild. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.